So Tom Macdonald has a new song out called You Missed. It is objectively terrible, but here are the lyrics. Let's go through them together. They burn in the country down with their progressiveness. It started with changing what gender is. So I have to stop right there because when he says that they're burning the country down, he's talking about Black Lives Matter. That's what he's talking about. So the protests were after George Floyd was unalived by a police officer. And then after that, uh, the timeline of events of the right wing culture war is not George Floyd and then gender issues. That's not the timeline. I'm going to need to give me a Katie Porter whiteboard so I can explain to Tom MacDonald the progression of the right wing culture wars. But moving on. Then graduated to you're racist if you think that your life matters. Again, incorrect. And your skin don't have melanin. Wrong. They don't want peace, they want skeletons. So I feel the need to interject here and remind people that those who constantly call for violence and things such as a civil war, for example, are people on the right. They want men to pretend that they're feminine. I thought this song was about Donald Trump getting shot at. Does Ben Shapiro pretend to be feminine? Does Jordan Peterson? Because they have very feminine mannerisms. I'm just saying my personal opinion. They don't want an election. Again, incorrect. So the side that didn't want to certify the election, that was the right. That was Donald Trump, who didn't want Mike Pence to certify the election results. Trump lost. They got so offended by freedom that they just tried unaliving the president. You mean you tried unaliving the president? That was you, boo. That was your side. The call's coming from inside the house. I used to think that the woke were misguided, but now I can see that they're evil. Anyway, fascinating. Yes, Tom MacDonald has figured out that the left is just evil, you know? That's why they care about democracy. Just want to bring your attention to a history of gerrymandering by Republicans, a history of preparing to roll back rights in the event of Roe being overturned, preemptively cheating so that you can get as many votes as possible. The left doesn't do that, Tom. Twitter is angry that Trump isn't unalived. I'm pretty sure that's not true, considering most people on Twitter, as of late, are people who are on the right, extremists, schmutzis, and those people really love Donald Trump. So this either doesn't make sense so far, or we're not doing so good. Not a lot of factual information in here. Let's continue. You know who got shot? Innocent people. That's right. Because a Republican man got his hands on an AR-15, and apparently a lot of incompetence from law enforcement to Secret Service to Trump himself, honestly, at this point. Staring off like a deer in headlights with your fist in the air while someone might be trying to unalive you? Not smart. Let's continue. I thought y'all were tolerant. Thought we were equals. Anyway, again, this was just a few days ago, and a Republican did it. So I don't know what's going on with you, Tom, but clearly something's up. I thought you valued how everyone feels. When did we say that? Isn't your team supposed to be all about facts over feelings? I'm confused. Why are your feelings important all of a sudden now? Then, when y'all celebrating an attempted, like you're part of Antifa. So I'd like to educate the people here for a minute and talk about the word Antifa. And that means being anti-fascism. And so, yeah, I think a lot of progressives would call themselves anti-fascist. Just a little vocabulary lesson here. Okay, let's continue. Thank God the left can't aim. The guy was a right-winger. He was a registered Republican. Thank God the right don't riot. Right. Conservatives only occupy cities, block borders, commit an insurrection. You know, semantics. Welcome to the home of the brave. Freedom ain't afraid of violence. You wish he was dying. So I actually am a leftist. I'm Canadian. And so I do not want Donald Trump to be unalived in this manner because I think making him a martyr is probably a huge, huge mistake. So, no, most people on the left, I don't think, wish he was dying, but maybe some do. And I can't really blame them either. BITCH, you missed. Thank God the left can't aim. I'm gonna sound like a broken record here, but the shooter was a registered Republican conservative male. He tried to take out his own leader for some reason. Now that the side that constantly talks about violence and civil wars has been the target of their own violent filled rhetoric, they're just gonna do the laziest thing in the world and pretend like what's going on is the left did it. Moving on. Why can't we just shoot straight? Y'all are going insane. BITCH, you missed. There is definitely some insanity going on around here. I think the call's also coming from inside the house on that point. There's no one else you can blame. Tried to lock him up in a cage. Now you're trying to unalive what you hate. BITCH, you missed. The man on the roof with the AR-15 was a registered Republican. Thank you. Oh, it gets better. Told us trust the science, but it never made sense to me. Tom, the scientist, he knew. He knew that the science wasn't the science. This is complete misinformation. I mean, this entire song is just, right wing propaganda. Why would we put all our trust in the enemy? Millions of people are hooked on amphetamines. So, who is the enemy here? The government? Trump was the president at the time, Tom. Trump was the president at the time. Did you know that JD Vance started a fake organization to help people who are addicted to drugs? I think it was also to help veterans. Then he just used the money for himself. He's the running mate of Donald Trump. They're making billions on untested remedies. So Tom here is referencing the apparently. He believes it to be untested. It is what it is. Borders are open to people with felonies. Who has felonies? 34. What is that number? Why does that sound so familiar? Biden can't stop him. He don't have the energy. Well, he just dropped out. So he's not gonna need the energy. Y'all want to unalive the man trying to fight for a better tomorrow. Truly the biggest and most successful grift that Donald Trump has ever pulled was convincing people who vote for him that he cares about them. Impressive. I am impressed. Anyway, and he rambles on, and this song is